I've decided that my studio, just like Gryffindor Tower, needs a guardian. One that only opens when you give her the password.
Password.
Caput Draconis.
I walk through this door every single day, and inside this space is where I have to be creative. To further inspire creativity, I surround myself with fantastical objects, stories, images, anything to keep that imagination alive. The industrial look of my current entrance is just really not helping with that. And what better way to differentiate this creative space from the world outside than making my very own version of the Hogwarts Fat Lady? It should be abundantly clear that those who enter here are entering a world where magic exists. Oh, if you love magic so much, why don't you just apparate inside? Listen, hush. All right, this studio is my Hogwarts. You can't just apparate inside. For this build, the requirements are: it has to fit the fantasy aesthetic, it has to be entirely my own, and it has to unlock when given the password. Unfortunately, my current capabilities do not allow me to install a fully sentient portrait. That would be awesome. But with those self-imposed restrictions, here's my plans to accomplish each of them. Hold up, why is a self-proclaimed Slytherin choosing the Fat Lady for this project? Well, as the great Mad-Eye Moody, who was really Barty Crouch Jr., who was a Death Eater, who was secretly smuggled out of Azkaban to fulfill the Dark Lord's purposes, once taught me,
what are your strengths?
You gotta play to your strengths, and one of mine is painting. So I'm choosing to paint the Fat Lady for this project. Also, I couldn't fit the Doors of Durin in this space, so there is that. Starting with that fantasy aesthetic, obviously gotta paint the Fat Lady onto this door. Once I've got that, I'll wrap the whole door in a Gothic arched frame, and then take this ugly OSB look and add some fake stone to make it look like a castle. Did that crappy automatic masking job just put me in bell bottoms? Since I want this to be something you guys can do yourselves, and honestly, because I'm addicted to the undo button, I will not be oil painting this directly onto the door. I'm going to digitally paint it and then print it out on canvas. That means I can offer the print files in multiple sizes, full door formats, standard picture frames, all bundled together and available for download. That also brings us to requirement number 2. This has to be entirely my own version of the Fat Lady. That'll help me stay away from any copyright infringement and also allow me to put in as many cool Easter eggs as I want into the painting. Let me know in the comments which ones you see and any other cool things that you think I should have added to this painting. That brings us to the final requirement of having the door unlock when given the password. To achieve this, I'll be using today's modern Muggle magic.
Try saying that 5 times faster.
Let's get started. With the painting finished, obviously you saw it's too big to actually fit on my door, meaning I'm going to have to crop it down before I can send it off to the print shop. And I painted it at that size because I wanted to make it available for different door sizes or other formats such as, frame sizes to hang it on the wall. If you wanted to recreate this project or, like I said, hang it on your wall, I'll have all those files available over on my Patreon. When you join there, you get access to this entire bundle for any files you need. And also you can enjoy access to behind the scenes content, deeper dives into some of my other builds, or early access to my next project. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. Links are in the description. But with this file cropped, I can send it off to the print shop. While I'm waiting on that portrait to be printed, I'm going to tackle the functionality of this door. Here's what I've come up with. As this is an interior door, it only has a doorknob that I'm going to replace with this smart door lock. I'm using this one specifically because of its unique functionality. Namely, it does not have a pin pad on the opposite side, so there's no way to unlock this except for the existing deadbolt system. Well, that and the smart home technology, which is what I'm going to be using for this system. But as far as a dedicated deadbolt, this door clearly doesn't have one. And I'm going to use that to my advantage to make so that this side of the door is completely free of any visual clues of how to open the door. To make this work, I start by removing all of the interior workings of that existing deadbolt lock system. I then remove the existing doorknob and replace it with this smart lock and all the pieces necessary to make it function. Now I ran into an issue here where obviously if I'm removing the opposite side of the deadbolt, that is what held it in place. That's what the bolts tightened into. So I had to model and print out a part that I could use some nuts to attach to those bolts to secure this lock in place. Once that's all in place, I'm able to cut off these bolts that are extending out, and when I mount the portrait, it'll hide any clues that this was ever here. With the lock in place, man, I'm getting so excited about this project. So next thing to do is set up the automations to be able to make this open via voice command. To do that, I'll be using this smart speaker to trigger that automation. Because my current technical capabilities or lack thereof in this field, I have to use out-of-the-box plug-and-play solutions to be able to automate this lock. So there are some quirks that I'm going to have to deal with, but it is pretty simple to set up this automation. Where this is a Wise lock, I set it up in the Wise app and connect it to the third-party source of Google Home so that I can use this Google smart speaker to be able to activate it via voice command. Once I set up that automation to work based on my specific trigger word or the fat lady's password, I'm then able to unlock the door through the smart home speaker. One of the lame quirks I have to deal with is because I can't make this work myself and this is a security system, they don't allow me to set up, a specific trigger word to just unlock the door. I can trigger an automation and that will then request a PIN to unlock the door. So a little bit of a lame workaround, but it does work and I'm getting really excited with it. So here's how it works. I've completely locked myself out of my studio and I just have to use this Google speaker out here. Fortuna Major.
Can I have your PIN?
1, 2, 3, 4.
That lady has been unlocked.
Isn't that awesome? Now the magic works, but if this is going to look anything like Hogwarts or a magical world, it has to have a Gothic arch. Beautiful thing about Gothic arches is they're just mathematical. The bad thing is, I'm not. It seriously kicked my butt, so like a true muggle, I let the computer figure it out by doing a 3D mock-up, and that'll give me all the information I need to get this archway cut out. All of the brain cramps were definitely worth it because this thing is looking so good. I love this arch. The portrait finally has a place to live, which means I can actually start building the wall around it. As you can see, I already started prepping for the stone here by adding this metal mesh. That'll give the mortar something to hold on to. The next step is to put an entire layer of mortar on this and start carving out individual stones. And fingers crossed, this doesn't look like absolute garbage by the time I'm done. First layer is done. I'm gonna let this cure overnight and I'll come back at it tomorrow. Day 2, here's the exciting part. We're gonna actually carve the stone. Let's get after it. I have to admit it, this has absolutely been kicking my butt. I way underestimated how hard this was going to be for me. This whole thing's basically been a time lapse. You probably haven't seen most of the struggles because it's been easier to just put the camera on time lapse and try and figure this out. This stuff is setting up so much faster than I had anticipated. I did a test piece earlier, but I used a different mortar and it took way long to cure. So I decided to switch mortars and use a rapid set mortar. Let me tell you, it is absolutely rapid. This is going so fast. Like I said, it is kicking my butt trying to keep up with this. I've got a couple more stones that I'm gonna put in here and then I'm finished with it. I'm really hoping that when I pull the tape off and look at the final result, it's gonna look awesome. Right now, I'm not so sure. Forget what that guy said. All right, he was stressed. He was in the middle of adding this stone, but man, it came together and it looks so good. I could leave this how it is right now. I love this. There's one last thing I want to do before I call this done and go get the canvas add to the door, and that is to make this a gallery wall and hang some pictures on here to kind of match that Hogwarts vibe. Some of these paintings are from artists whose work I enjoy, and some are my own illustrations. But the entire collection is meant to work to further the purpose of this whole project, to inspire that creativity right from the entrance of my studio. However, there is one small picture that has a secret purpose. While constructing the wall, I dug out this little alcove that will house the keypad, and now I've hidden it behind this tiny frame. So anytime I don't want to wait on that automation, I can pull this frame out, enter the code, and open the door. The last piece of decoration to add was my signature in the bottom corner. With that all in place, it's time to go pick up the print. I worked with Livingston Photo and Print to produce this canvas, and they were kind enough to let me film a bit of the process. And let me tell you, this was amazing. I selected the canvas, they loaded it into the machine, and it got printing right away. This was so awesome to see. As a digital artist, I've rarely seen my work printed and never at this scale. Let me tell you, the detail, I should have spent another month painting on this for the amount of details you can see in this scale of a print. It's amazing. After spending hours staring at it on the computer screen, suddenly it was real. And with the print in hand, finally, the Guardian can take her place. Oh, crud. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh my gosh. You didn't just see that, did you? Oh yeah. Awesome. While I rehang this door, I want to take a moment to thank all those who have supported me on this creative journey, especially my new Patreon members, John the First and Baking with Bonnet. I am so grateful for the support I receive on these projects. It truly makes a difference. This has been such a fun challenge, from the painting to the stonework. I have thoroughly enjoyed this project. Let's take a look. Fortuna Major.
Can I have your PIN?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Fat lady has been unlocked.
Overall, I am really pleased with how this turned out. It has been so much fun to use. Obviously, it's not the most secure. It was never meant to be super secure, but the lock adds an element of magic to this entrance. On the day-to-day, really the hidden keypad is what makes it a practical use, but man, it's been fun. If you want to try something like this yourself, you could easily simplify this down. You don't need the arch, you don't need the stone. With just the natural door trim, this could look really good. Check out my Patreon for any of the files you might need. I've got standard door sizes, even standard frame sizes. If you just want to hang this on the wall, it's all available. Links are in the description. And a big thanks to Livingston Photo and Print. It was so much fun going to their print shop, watching this come to life before my eyes. If you want to order through them, their website is also linked in the description. If you know somebody who loves Harry Potter, share this video with them. And if you love fantasy builds like this, get subscribed. I'll see you in the next video.